Hey fam, happy Taco Tuesday. Welcome to Corey's Cocina. We're going to be doing some Tex-Mex bread tonight. Not doing tacos, we did fajitas yesterday. You can see that video on the new Facebook page I created today. And all the videos are going to be uploaded to that Facebook page also, as well as on YouTube. You can see those at Corey's Cocina on YouTube and on Facebook. So this is a recipe that I came up with a couple years ago. It's Tex-Mex bread. It's really good. I like it. It's a very simple yeast bread recipe that I've kind of modified a little bit. The very first thing that we're going to do, I've got 2 tablespoons of yeast in this bowl, or 2 teaspoons, I'm sorry, along with a tablespoon of sugar. To that, I'm going to add my water. You want your water between 100 and 110. That water was 107. If you don't have a thermometer to measure the water, do the baby bottle test, where just let the water run on your wrist or on the inside of your forearm. If it's too hot for your forearm, it's too hot for the yeast. We don't want the water to be too cold because then the yeast won't rise. It doesn't want to do its thing in the water and the sugar. So we're going to let that sit. While we're letting that sit, I'm going to show you guys how I make my garlic butter. I've got the molcajete here on the counter, and I told you I use this for more than just salsas. And so while we're letting that yeast rise, I'm actually going to give it a little bit of a stir here just to kind of get it more incorporated. So this is just yeast, water, and sugar. This is actually the fast rise yeast that you can use in bread machines. So give that a little bit of a stir there. And then let's get into this garlic butter real quick while we're waiting on this yeast. So I've got my molcajete here, and in here I've got about, looks like 6 little cloves of garlic. I'm just going to smash those up real quick. Lost one. Just to get the paper off. This one nice thing about the molcajete is once you give these cloves a smash, this paper just peels right off and then sticks to everything. But seriously, just give them a good smash. And then the paper in the trash, garlic in the bowl. I'll get that one that's on the floor later. Well, that one's dead to me now. So I've got my garlic in the molcajete here, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did for the salsas, my guacs, my salsas. I'm just going to get this garlic incorporated into this bowl. Okay, I got my tamalote here, and I'm just going to run it around on the inside of the molcajete and get this garlic just really well infused into this bowl. That's it. It's that simple. Okay? Again, that's what I'm looking for the inside of the bowl. Okay? I want the whole bowl coated. Now, I'm just going to take my butter, and I had about a half a stick of butter here that's been sitting on the counter. This is at room temperature. Got a knife here. So I'm just going to put that into the molcajete, and I'm going to just cut this in half, just because it's easier to incorporate. Okay. Put that back there. Let's go back. I'll put another butter in there later. So now that I've got the butter in the molcajete, I'm just going to start smashing it into the molcajete and forcing that garlic into the butter. Okay, this is going to be so good. Get it off the tamalote there and just stir it around. Get it all infused. Get that garlic all infused into the butter. Now the other thing that you could do for this too, like tonight, I'm making a Tex-Mex loaf for you guys, but I'm also making an Italian loaf. that's proofing right now on the stove behind me. So for garlic bread, if you're going to do garlic bread, another thing that you can do with this butter is add like just a teaspoon of like Italian seasoning. This is just a really commercially made Italian seasoning. I use just about a teaspoon of this. Really all that's in here is marjoram, basil, rosemary, thyme, oregano, savory, and sage. I have all of those in the cupboard right now. It's just easier when it's all together for me like this. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add a teaspoon of this. Since I am making this garlic butter for garlic bread tonight, I'm gonna add a teaspoon of this right to the butter, and I'm gonna incorporate it again with the molcajete. Okay? So there, that's in. Get that back down there. Now again, I'm just gonna smash this all around. This is a really easy way. It's an easy way to make this butter, and it's another great use for your molcajete if you end up getting one. Okay? So now that's all infused now. Now all I need to do is just take the spatula. I'm going to scrape this off. I'm just going to get this into this bowl now. And like I said, I'm going to use this tonight. So I'm just going to put it in this bowl because it's going to be easier for me to get it out of here tonight. Okay? Keep setting that thing down, and I wiped it off twice. All right, so I'm just going to scrape that off. And then I'm just going to get the inside of this bowl scraped out. And you can see how well incorporated everything is into this butter, okay? Now all I need to do is when this Italian loaf gets done, I'll put this right on it when it comes out of the oven hot. Okay? So that's done there. And you can see too, like this doesn't leave a huge mess in this molcajete. You can see I pretty much got everything out of there. Okay? So I've got this all scraped down now with my spatula. I'm going to set this off to the side because I'm going to use it tonight. Put the molcajete in the sink. Now with the molcajete, like I said, you don't ever put this into the dishwasher. You're just going to scrub it with your sink scrubber, some soap and water, and let it dry. Okay? So I'll just leave that there for now. All right, so my yeast is rising up good in this bowl. We'll give that a couple more minutes. Let me grab got a little bit of butter on my counter here. Get rid of that real quick. All right, so for the bread recipe, while my yeast is working, we're going to just use 2 cups of flour. And I'm just using all-purpose unbleached flour. Okay? You know what? I'm going to have to get another bag, I think. Yep, I've only got 1 cup here, so I'm going to have to get this other bag out of the pantry. I wasn't paying attention to that earlier when I made the Italian loaf. Okay, so 1 level cup. It's actually going to be 2 level cups. Get this other bag out of the pantry. Maybe. Gotta find it. All right, so get this in the back here. I'll probably have to edit that out on YouTube. So I'm going to make a level scoop here. I want 1 level cup. Get this in. Just do this over the bag so I'm not making a huge mess. But basically all I'm going to do is just level this cup off. Okay? Made a mess anyway. Alright, so there's 1 cup there. We'll get this other bag opened. I have a very Bob Ross philosophy for cooking. No mistakes, just happy accidents, right? So, and of course the other bag was buried in the pantry behind all the cereal. So, anyway, get the rest of this out of this bag here. Into the trash. Wash my hands real quick. All right, let's get another level cup in the bowl here. My hands as dry as I can. All right, so now we'll get another level cup here. I just use the handle of my spatula just to level it off. Okay, there, finally, 2 cups. All right, so now I need that, and to this, so this is what makes this Tex-Mex, okay? I told you guys about this chili lime seasoning that I found, okay? Lowry's makes it, just called chili and lime seasoning. It's got salt, chili pepper, lime juice, lime oil, that's it, okay? So chili and lime. I love this stuff. This is what's gonna make this bread the bomb, okay? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add this right to my flour right now, okay? I'm gonna put all my dry ingredients together. I've got my ½ teaspoon here, so I'm just gonna use this a couple times. I'm gonna do 3 teaspoons of this chili and lime, okay? There's 4, there's 5, there's 6. All right. So I got 3 teaspoons in there of the chili and lime seasoning. I'm also going to add some cumin to this, some comino. I'm going to do 2 teaspoons of this also. 2, 3, 4. I got this ½ teaspoon I'm using right now because you guys saw me drop my teaspoon on the floor. So that's in the sink, it's dead to me. The other thing that I'm gonna add is this guajillo molido. This is a really good smoky pepper. It's not super spicy. It's probably somewhere between a jalapeno and a serrano. Okay, we talked about Scoville units on the molcajete video when I did the salsas. Okay, so this is going to be in between a serrano and a jalapeno, and I'm just going to do ½ teaspoon of this because this is a pretty. I don't want to make this bread too spicy. Okay, so I'm going to do ½ teaspoon of that. I'm also going to do ½ teaspoon of this chili piquin. Okay, this is also ground. Now this one is a little bit hotter than the guajillo, so I'm only going to do ¼ teaspoon of this. Okay, so there's my dry ingredients. Oh, I also need a teaspoon of salt. So let's get that in there too. So there's 1 teaspoon of salt, that's in. Okay, that's it for my dry ingredients. Now I need also, I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Okay, so there's 1, 2. This is a teaspoon actually, so I need 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so there's 2 tablespoons, I just did 6 teaspoons, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, okay? So now what we need to do is just add the yeast, and then we'll get mixing this. This already smells amazing. Okay, so my yeast now is bloomed. You can see it's bloomed up really well. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. If your yeast doesn't do this, it's probably dead. Either the water was too hot or too cold, or your yeast is too old. Okay, you want this to be really bubbly, puffy when it's activating in the bowl with the sugar. And you should be able to smell it. It should have that very reminiscent yeast smell, okay? So now to the bowl, I'm just gonna add that. That's 1 cup of water and 2 teaspoons of yeast, 1 tablespoon of sugar, okay? Now we're just gonna get into this. Let me wash my hands again. This is a no knead recipe. So all I'm gonna do is mix this well enough in the bowl just to get everything incorporated. And then I'm gonna put it into this other bowl here. My proofing bowl, I've just put a little bit of olive oil inside of it. I've just coated the inside so that when I slide the dough in there, it's gonna be easy to move it around, okay? So I'm just gonna get into this now. I'm just gonna use my hands because I don't need to knead this. I don't need to knead. All I need to do is mix it around, okay? And I'm just gonna make sure that it's very well incorporated. Because all my dry ingredients were mixed in together already, I could have given those a stir to incorporate that, but I don't really need to. I'm not gonna end up with any hot spots in here because I'm gonna make sure that this is really mixed up well. And I'm just using my hand here. When you're doing this, the easiest thing that I found is to keep 1 dry hand and 1 wet hand. So I've got 1 hand that's sticky with the dough right now, and then obviously my dry hand. Okay, that's it. This is a no knead dough, so I don't have to keep messing with this. Once I get everything incorporated together, that's it. That's all I have to do. Okay, so now I'm just going to go right from my mixing bowl here right into my proofing bowl. All right, get that all in there. Get off the bowl here. Get what I can off my fingers. And because I've added olive oil to this bowl, this dough is not going to stick to the inside of this bowl. Okay? So, we got that in the proofing bowl now. Let me get this dough off my hands here. Now all I need to do is give it about an hour to rise, okay? I like to let it rise on the oven. I put on the stove, I mean. So I've got this one that's proofed over here. I'm gonna put this one here. My oven's on and heated to preheated to 400. I've also got my comal inside because that's how I'm gonna cook this bread. Okay, this bread, here, let me show you the difference between these loaves so you can see. These loaves were the exact same size, okay? This is the one that's not proofed, this is the one that's proofed. This one's already proofed twice. I'm gonna beat it down again. We're gonna make the loaf and we're gonna put it in the oven. All right, so this is what I'm looking for out of this, okay? So let's get that covered, get that proofing on the oven. And then I'll punch this down again. And then I'm just gonna shape this into a round loaf and it's gonna go right onto the comal. All right, so you can see now I've gotten the air out of it again and I've just mixed it up again. You can see it's about the same size as that one was. Okay, so let's pull out the comal Get some of this cleaned up here. This should be a video about hand washing. My goodness. All right. So now what I'm going to do, because this is an Italian loaf, and I told you guys the ingredients for that. It's just the 2 teaspoons of the Italian seasoning, the commercially made Italian seasoning, and that's what that is, okay? My point to that is this. When I take this comal out, now this has been in the oven preheating. So it's about, the oven's preheating to 400, okay? Because I'm using an Italian loaf, I'm going to use a little bit of this flour. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of flour on here just to keep it from sticking to the comal. Okay, I just want a light dusting, that's it. Okay? When I put the Tex-Mex in, I'm actually going to use masa because it's got that nice corn flavor to it. That doesn't matter with this one because this is an Italian loaf, okay? Now all I need to do, I'm just going to ease this out onto this comal. I needed a little bit more oil in this bowl. Okay? And I'm just going to make this into just a nice round loaf. That's all I got to do. Okay? If you want to get fancy, you can do some scores on the top. My buddy Aaron Cole, he's been making a ton of sourdough bread videos on his Facebook page. Check him out. He's also he's baking bread every day, and he puts it out in front of his house, and it's amazing. His sourdough bread is the bomb. Okay. All right, so that's it. My loaf is on the pan now. This is going to go right into the oven. And I'm at 400 and I'm going to go about 20 to 25 minutes. Okay? And when that comes out, it's going to be a big, nice heaping loaf. Okay? When you're trying to figure out if it's done, it should have a nice crust to it. When you tap it, it should sound hollow. All right? I think that's all I want to tell you guys today. We're making Tex-Mex bread. I also made some Italian bread. It's Taco Tuesday. We're not doing tacos tonight. We're actually doing spaghetti and meatballs. So that's why I'm doing the Italian loaf. Don't judge. We did fajitas yesterday. Also, speaking of fajitas, I mentioned my friends, the Drumhillers. They were nice enough to come by today, drop off some more meat, and dropped off a business card here. They're in southern Michigan. They do organic raised cattle. Grass-fed only. Nathan's gonna punch me if I say grain-fed.